Hi, and welcome to the introduction to ManMade. This is an introductory video just to give you an idea and an overview of what it is and how to use it. I know most of you are probably familiar with my material, but if you're not, this will give you a little bit of a purview of all the little parts and pieces and how they go. So if you have the basic membership, or even if you have the advanced, you should be able to go into the site and then download your PDF version of ManMade. Want you to do that. That'll give you some in-hand materials that you can use for, and you don't necessarily have to go back and forth through the videos, but the videos will supplement, also giving you more information as we go along. You're familiar with all kinds of mentoring programs, possibly from afar or maybe up close, from Boy Scouts to Big Brothers programs and all those things. They all have their strengths. They all do very valuable work. What we wanted to do was create an additional tool using technology that makes it at your fingertip via your phones, your devices, your computers, to give you something, whether you know what to do, know how to do it, whether you can get to one or not to one. Everybody can't make Boy Scouts at 7:30 at night every Tuesday. Everybody can't make it to this club or that club or your kids' sports events. I know my mom certainly couldn't, even because of finances. She couldn't let us be in certain programs. So this is something that I created to have a price point that's low and to also give you very valuable and deliberate steps that we can take in developing the young man. So what is it? I'm going to jump right in because you got plenty of material to work through. ManMade is going to give you 12 developmental character traits that you can work on with the young man. Whether you're the mom, the dad who maybe your son lives with his mother, or maybe you have him, or you're the mentor, or you're the stepdad and this lady that you're married to, she has a son, and there's areas that you want to work on with them. This gives you something deliberate you can work on. Everybody signs on to it. We're working together, and we're trying to walk through these stages to help them grow and burgeon into what you want to see them become. We get it all scripted out for you so things don't get overlooked. It's done monthly. So, for example, the first being here, self-respect, you're going to work on it for an entire month, and I'll show you how that's going to look. Of course, there's 12 there. You'll get to the first section, and it's going to give a definition fully of what self-respect is. So you'll have that discussion with the young guy. Self-respect is this, and you can read it or you can read through it and elaborate on it, and then have the discussion. See if they understand how it applies in their age bracket and what they need to grow into. And when you're done with all that, there's a small journaling opportunity for the youngster next, and just let them capture, hey, write down to me what you understand from what we talked about, how it applies, what it really is. And so you're going to get that captured from them. That's another way of getting feedback, and to know if your message gets across, and to know if you're stating things fully or clearly, or you're using words that maybe doesn't connect for them. So it gives you a chance when you see that, and it gives them a chance to let what you've been working on, try to embed in them a little more in their understanding, because we want to make sure they know knowledge level and then understand in a comprehension kind of scenario, and then we want to put some practice and application to that, and that's what happens in the next section. And you'll find when you look at the material, it's not a very demanding regimen in here. There's not a whole lot of data and material pushing you. It's the engagement to be active doing something of value. And so next you're going to ask, you're going to grade them on a scale of 1 to 5 on how they execute in that component. So I'd look at my son or this young guy and say, okay, on a scale of 1 to 5, you probably are about a 3.5, and I'm going to mark you 3.5. Say the way you carry your self-respect, you walk out the door sometimes, and you might miss yes sir and yes ma'am when it's appropriate. You might fail to open doors for ladies. You might fail to, all the different things that you want to highlight for them to help explain to them, like, these are the things that demonstrate to others that you carry yourself with respect. The way you keep yourself tidy, do you keep your room, do you do all these different things. This is where you open up the conversation, have it, and then show them where you are. And you might lend itself to send it into school, and you can get markings from teachers. If you're the parent, you can mark, and you can also have his mentor mark him. You can deploy it in a number of ways. All those ways are going to be helpful because now you're measuring. And we used to like to say in the Air Force, one of the sayings that I came across that I thought was really valuable was people don't do what's expected, they do what's inspected. So now you're inspecting his behavior. You're putting a demand on him, and it's not negative, it's a developmental. Here's where you are. We want you to get here. And so we're going to set some goals for it, and that's what happens in the next part. You're going to set 3 goals for him to work on during that month, 3 goals in his behavior and activity that should contribute to the development of his self-respect and how he carries himself. It can be a lot of things. In self-respect, we have a little challenge section where you can ask him if they want to do something in their school, in their community, or personally in the home. You've got all those 3 areas you can work in. And so he could do something like attend a motivational speaking session, or he could just download something from YouTube that's motivational for a young guy. You can ask him about making good friends that are influence on him and removing some friends that are poor influences. You could ask him to do something with their fitness and appearance standards, or the way they keep themselves, keep their room, or keep the spaces they're responsible for. A goal to do better with their grades. All those different things are part of it. Or you could visit a museum that's in their interest set. So each 12 characteristics are going to set up that dynamic. And then they're going to journal in the month, in that same month, how that experience and practicing made sense to them and impacted them. And then you get a little snip for advice. So it's a little bit self-explanatory when you're doing it, but I did want to give you an introduction to it, and then you can come back to this if when you're reading through the material, you kind of think through, how was I supposed to do this? Because I wanted to keep it thin, lightweight, easy to deploy, and usable in multiple settings. And this should help you, and it also can let you offer and let someone else, if you got an older son and he's going to mentor the younger son, now you've got a guided template, and it's not just what I saw with so many other programs where it was you just pick a boy up and take him to McDonald's and you sit and try to get him to chat. This is developmental, and we'll keep doing it year after year. So over 12, you'll get through it in a year. You will have 12 productive efforts towards his development that are meaningful to you. You can see it in the beginning. You open the cover, you can see exactly what you're going to be targeting. And when you have conversations, you can create an expectation, and you can have goals, and you can talk to them about achieving the goals. The goals are written down, and they're in a certain place, and you just keep going. And it's not very formal, but it is scripted, and it's deliberate, and it's an effort in the right direction. This is what moms have been asking me for. They asked me to do mentoring programs. I'm one man. There's thousands of mothers reaching out to me over and over again, and so they want the advantage of insight from a man that grew up as in a home with a single mom, knowing those real demands, and then knowing what it was like for my father trying to reach across that divide and do what he could with the best effort that he could. And then as I went on into mentoring, learning more about how those dynamics could be helped and what things are missing from other systems that work with it. So this is your tool. You're in ManMade. It's time to get started. So when you get ready, move on to Module 1, and congratulations on making a man. You've got the recipe.